Welcome back to Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host, broadcasting live from Roseville, Minnesota, in the belly of the beast, the liberal zombie apocalypse of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And we're just north of the Minnesota State Fair, which just began at 7 a.m. this morning. And unlike last year, Tim Walz, I don't think, walked right in front of our booth. And unfortunately, he walked right in front of our booth when it was Dump Biden, not when it was actually Dump Tim Walz or Never Walz or Never Again, all those booths. So unfortunately, I don't think he's seen it yet, but this one is, we're going to give you some live footage. Joining me in studio, Mr. Liberty Longbeard, Paul Tushy. How you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing good. I got a belly full of wings from Quinny's Pub and Grill. Just left there after a good lunch.
And you were like barely here on time.
Not eating on the white chairs, you know. Well, you know, I may have another ADA complaint. I missed the exit.
Oh my God! How about you read comments over there? I gave you the spot so you could read them.
Oh, awesome.
Tim Walz is there showcasing the comments here. Let's go ahead. There we go. What do we got?
Razzle Dazzle says another expensive day. Truck shopping for daughter.
Yikes. M. Bauer, are you gonna read? That's all you're reading?
Oh, M. Bauer says hi, y'all. And M. Bauer also says, foodie Tushy in the house.
And we got Bjorn Thompson saying hello, and Tucker. I don't even know why. I technically hired him to be our comment reader. I don't know what's wrong.
That's all that he can read.
That's all I can see on there.
Yeah.
I know, but some people actually are professionals. They have their phone or their computer out. Oh, Tushy.
You know, I'm on your side with this one, Tushy.
Thank you.
Are you? Okay. Reading the operating the show today is Dawson. We call him Deep State Dawson. How you doing, Dawson?
We're doing good. We're preparing for a big. I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't go out there with any cameras or anything today. It's kind of a nasty day out. So.
Yeah, red skies in the morning. Sailors take warning. I saw that right away when I got up to help out the great Extra for Liberty get things kicked off. So we're gonna do some live from the fair with MAGA Jesse. We're talking about 2nd Congressional District. Tushi, you got something really interesting. You're not going to hear that from anywhere else. Then we got RFK. Is he going to actually drop out and endorse Trump? And I want to know if this is satire. Plus, we got Andy Parrish from Wisconsin joining us in the conversation, who's going to be a radio show host with a local affiliate down there. This could be a jam-packed show and a great after show or post show. If you want to join us, you just hit join on Rumble. We'll try to read your Rumble comments. If you want to interrupt me at any time, hit that Rumble rant. And we couldn't do the show without our great sponsors today, Alpine Cabtree in St. Cloud, Warren Wessel of Keller Williams Realty. If you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, give Warren a call at 612-419-7453. And if you're buying a home, give the good guys at John Galt Mortgage Company a call. I'm sorry, not a call. Go to their website, johngaltmortgage.com. I got to start having a sponsor or a segment on the show where we go through their most their best like social media posts of the week, because they're top level on that, on memes and all that kind of stuff, and they also do financing of homes. I love it, and they believe in liberty. Anyhow, join us live from the Minnesota State Fair is MAGA Jesse at the Action for Liberty booth, otherwise known as the Never Walz booth. How are things going out there, MAGA Jesse?
Yep, I hear you guys. It's pretty loud. I can't hear you very well, but this line has been busy all day. We're gonna stay busy. We've been having a lot of fun here. Hey, everybody, say what's up to the Truth Hurts. Hi. We're staying busy out here. We got lots of great volunteers. We got Tina and Lisa here. We got Jim over there. We're staying busy, having a good time out here at the State Fair. Everybody needs to stop by. We're exposing the truth about Tim Walz.
All right, let's get outside that booth, Jesse. You know, Dawson, it's so funny to me. We tried getting this all worked out with him ahead of time, and yet it's still choppy.
Well, I mean, that's the data or whatever.
I know, but I'm guessing he doesn't have 5G on his phone.
I'm not sure.
We should have given him equipment. I knew we should have given him equipment. All right, Jesse, let's get some shots of this booth here, because this is a really cool sign. I'm sure Walz would hate to see this. It's called the Stolen Valor sign. Can we get a good shot of the top of this booth here? Look at that.
Yeah, so.
There you go. A little choppy, but. For everybody curious, we will be doing a professional
We've been
shoot
staying
for this
busy.
too.
It's been busy all day.
Now can we go up to that wheel? I'm just dumbfounded. Does he not have a 5G phone? It shouldn't be this choppy, right, Dawson?
I'm surprised. I thought that we had Wi-Fi out there or something going on.
It's super busy here. I think there's a lot of cell phone use. So.
Oh, now it's much better. There we
Yeah,
go.
I think it's just because there's lots of people out here.
Okay,
Yeah,
there
I
you go.
think
Let's
so.
go. Can you go up to this wheel that people are spinning? I like this thing too. And what is like the record of Tim Walz? What are we highlighting here on this booth?
I'll be honest, I can barely hear you guys, but we're having
No,
a good time. We're exposing Tim Walz, Tim,
Jesse,
and China Walz. With lots of excitement. I can barely hear you guys, though.
Jesse, can we get a shot of the wheel? Can you go right up to the wheel and be there right by the people that are spinning this thing? I want people to see the record of Tim Walz. Can you hear that? Okay, he did hear that. Good. All right, now we got to get a little closer, Jesse. There we go. They're spinning the wheel. God.
Okay, you
Oh my
didn't even talk to me
God.
before this.
Jesse always is like, I'm technologically retarded. I'm like, no, you're not. You're 26 or whatever he is, 27. Oh my God. Jesse, can you give me a close-up shot of that wheel?
He's already back in the booth.
Oh. It's Prank on Jake Day today. All right, Jesse, what parting words do you have for the people back at home watching this?
I think you said my name, but I couldn't hear you at all. So things are going great.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Jesse. That may have been the worst segment we have ever done in this show in the one and a half year history. What?
Tucker 91 says towers could be overloaded, and that's
almost, yeah,
that's
that's
very much.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Anytime you go to a major concert, major sporting event, the state fair, like there's so many people around using the same.
Yeah, but we've
bandwidth.
done this before. We've done it at the state fair.
I'm sure that Jesse's phone is not quite up to snuff when it comes to it, but it probably is a mix of different issues.
Oh.
I'm pulling up an image of the wheel. Give me just a second here. Try to do
It's
this.
so funny. I saw that going differently in my head.
Oh, actually, the picture that you have does not super show it off. But here,
I think next Tuesday during the show we're gonna have a film crew go out there. There we go. That was a shot from right when we opened up. I was like, oh crap, we just opened up the windows and people are already showing up. I was like, dang, there's the fan. So tax increases, burning. Do people realize this? Like they had a $21 billion surplus and Tim Walz increased taxes on Minnesotans, right? It's insanity. Like a new tax on what is it, Tushi? If you get something online for
buying
orders,
stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, it's like 50 cents, 35 cents.
Yep.
Sales tax going up in a lot of these cities. Everything's just crazy. Go back to that shot there, Dawson, real quick. So burning Minneapolis, everyone knows that. Mask mandate instituted in August of 2020. Even outdoors, right? Because that science. Tampons in the boys' room, I see. COVID snitch line. That one's getting a lot of publicity by the national, I guess, center-right media press pool. Sorry, can't talk today. So, anyhow, what do we got in the comment section here, Tushi?
M. Bauer, that's keeper one for the bloopers. Bjorn Thompson, 2. He needs earbuds. Plus, you could boost the volume a tad. Tucker 91, agreed. There you go. You heard it here. No, and the Democrats definitely. Last couple Democratic governors, you can tell it's not the Democratic Party that Minnesota's been voting Democrat for most of 100 years, right? Well, it was unions all over the state, right? But the miners and everything else, and we just even 20 years ago or so, like all of these outstate areas, not just the Iron Range, but even central Minnesota, Morrison County, and all these places were voting Democrats. They were electing Democrats. Even a few cycles ago, Bemidji and some of those areas still had Democrats.
Oh,
there. And it's like, I don't know, Walz was elected in 18, so I think it was one of the last Dayton years when he signed into law, like taxes on tattoos, taxes on haircuts, like things rich people get, right?
Right.
Haircuts and tattoos is like, the cigarette taxes through the roof, where it's like all these taxes that disproportionately affect poor people. And then it's just the what was on the wheel? I forgot already. That wall. No, but right that. What was it that was on the wheel on taxes? Oh yeah, you said delivery, Amazon deliveries and stuff like this.
Well, just taxes. I think tax increase.
It's like, well, who buys stuff on Amazon? So like, I mean, like, just everybody's
just uber wealthy, right?
Right. And Dort, I think food. I don't know if that one went through, but
it's because you have to spend $100 to get the tax.
The Democrats are pushing. Well,
which also might break down people's orders into multiple orders, so you don't get the tax.
Yeah, I think that somebody put that through. Probably thought, oh, we don't want to. We're going to try to keep the claim that it only affects wealthier people or something like this. But I know food delivery was in there too, like DoorDash and stuff like this. So yeah, who buys Who buys all this stuff? It's like just taxes on the average working class people. Yeah, well, I think Royce needs to push that, but the Republican politicians need to stand up and say, "Look, these Democrats are not trying to look out for working class people anymore. They want to triple your electric bill in the name of climate change. They want to tax you to oblivion. That doesn't help the poor and the middle class and the working class at all."
Oh, not at all. So I'm doing this fair this morning. I wanted to help out because I used to run Action for Liberty. Lisa's doing a fantastic job. It's unbelievable. You guys got to go stop by. It's How to describe it? It's outside the food building, so it's on Underwood Street. It's actually not that far from the Republican booth, although this one's far better, far better. Right across
from that Good Coffee place, right?
It's right in front of the Good Coffee place, which is run by a conservative. Yeah, he loves having us there.
It's across the street from that, or
no? We're right in front.
Next to it.
Yeah, right in front. Yeah, if you look in the background, can you find that image from this morning? That one you just showed. That you zoomed in on the wheel. If you look in the background, there's this. I should know. I think is it Anchor Coffee? Is that right?
Yep, I think so.
And that image you showed earlier, Dawson. Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Anchor Coffee House. Now, see, this is another way you could tell this is a conservative. You see the flag he's got up there? It's the old Minnesota flag. That's like the new. That's the new signal. That's like the new MAGA hat, right? It's almost like the people that have. Because, you didn't see a lot of Minnesota flags on people's homes. No wonder. So now when you see the new ones, you're like, oh, I see how you vote. And when you see the old ones, you're kind of like, I bet you put that flag up recently.
So because of that old flag, is that why Mort's map shows the map of triggered liberals at the state fair?
That's funny. Did you see that?
Yes.
We should. Is that a tweet?
I think so.
I said, I think those are water fountains. All right. Hate Minnesota says I should get that out there on post on the website so we can make it go viral. That's a great idea. We'll get on that, Hate Minnesota. All right. So I'm at the booth. I'm dead serious. So we opened it up. I think it's like 8:35, 8:40 or something like that. We opened up the booth, and already, like you saw that first shot, people just lined up right away. They want to get these fans. They're giving away the the Never Walz fans, okay? And I think the people have to understand, like, the State Fair crowd is very sympathetic to us, but it's a mix of everybody. And there is one, I swear to God, he was albino, and then he had, like, a twin brother. And they were, like, they just really wanted to, like, I don't know, yell at me, essentially. So he comes up to me, he's like, do you know what a tampon is? I go, do you know what a tampon is? He's like, do you know? I'm like, I think you know what a tampon is. Do you actually not know what a tampon is? I don't know where he was trying to go. I guess he was trying to verbally spar with me. And then he just got frustrated, walked away, and then he came back around. And that's when I noticed he had like a twin brother. And he just yells, Walz forever, mother trucker. And I was like, oh, good. Yeah, there you go. You got me, buddy. Then I had this lady that came up, and she was such a sweetheart. She goes, do you know where the Democrat booth is? I go, I'm not quite sure. And she kind of laughed, and I go, did you really want to know where it is? She's like, yeah, I'm actually a Democrat, and we had a nice conversation. I think I changed her mind. Just kidding. Anyhow, but we get a lot of traction. You know who else came up to the booth this morning?
Joe
and I'd never met before. Joe Tayrab. Yep. Joe Tayrab. I guess he's going to the GOP booth to work.
Well, I saw that a few other people said, oh, Joe Tayrab's at the fair. A renowned food blogger in Minnesota who also doesn't live in CD2 says, look, who's at the fair. So, I mean, I guess it goes to show.
Wait. Who are you talking about? Renowned food blogger?
Of Cheap Recipe blog. Haley Nelson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is at the fair reviewing all the.
I guess I didn't know she do that for. I didn't even know she was a food blogger.
She's had that for like 20 years or something.
Really?
She's at the fair doing.
Do I not follow her stuff? That's what she does. How did I not know this?
She's been running that thing for a long time.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, fairly.
All right.
big
So
food blog.
continue.
So she was over there reviewing state fair foods today for Bring Me the News. I believe it's for Bring Me the News, and she says, "Oh, look, it's Joe Tarab. Look who's at the fair." And I'm like, "Yeah, anything for him to avoid being in CD2 where no one likes him, you know." So
what is this controversy going down? We got Andy Parrish joining us in about 8 minutes, and we're going to get into some of the DNC stuff. So tell me, you told me this morning there's something going down in Congressional District 2. I had never met Tarab, by the way. Very nice guy. He was a very friendly guy to me.
Yeah, well, he's tries to get somebody to like him, you know. and you know, it's nobody in CD2 likes it. So if people like you from CD4 or elsewhere, maybe you can be nice to him. You know, I'm sure it's hurtful. And
right. No one knows the story. So you told me about it briefly this morning. Tell us what's going on.
I mean, he's a terrible candidate, and he's somebody who's he's made no apologies ever for, you know, breaking his promises to the grassroots or not, you know, just disrespecting us over and over again. But so I know in the last week, all these new sites that he didn't buy apparently, and I'm sure Zach Frymark, who makes it's Tucker 91 $5 rumble. You guys need to tell people at the fair that there's free abortions and vasectomies at the Democrat booth.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, should we tell them that, or is that true?
Well, it's at the DNC convention for sure. You know, if it's at the DNC convention, why don't they do? That's how crazy the Democrats are. It's just amazing to me. People go, Republicans are crazy. It's like they're doing vasect. There's a funny Babylon Bee this morning. It goes, guy accidentally gets vasectomy thinking he was at the food truck line at the DNC convention.
Oh my. Well, failed candidate asks, is Joe T going to get endorsed? And I would bet any money that he's not going to get endorsed. Like there's what's going on in CD2 then? There's so many things going on. Well, people are just,
about the convention because failed candidate happens to know something.
Okay, he happens to know something?
Well, I mean, he's alluding to what you were telling me about.
Yeah, so, you know, a couple days ago, all these websites came out, joetarab.com and tarab.com and all these things that Zach, who apparently, you know, makes 10 grand or 12 grand a month or whatever else, didn't have the foresight to buy. Is not that valuable of an asset in the campaign team, apparently. So Angie Craig owns all these things, tarab.com, joetarab.com, just trashing him. Like, he can't get any traction. There's more ROM signs still up in CD2 than there are Tarab signs.
We got another rumble rap.
Tushy, get over it. Time to support the primary winner in CD2, says failed candidate.
Oh, failed candidate pushing back at you a little bit there.
Yeah. So nobody likes Tarab, and most of us.
Well, Emmer likes him.
Yeah, nobody in CD2 likes him, and most of us in CD2. I mean, most of the activists. I guess like he got 24% in the endorsing convention. He got 18% of the debate. He did just post primary. The vote of the CD2 full committee was 22-0 against endorsing him. So you know, most people don't like him, and like basically he got 18% of the debate, 24% at the 24% at the convention, but then down to 0% at the last vote before the primary to endorse him. So now they think, well, it's post primary. Let's try to get this guy the endorsement. And he's never made one single apology for anything he's ever done or said, or acts like he's going to represent the grassroots. So people are just people are incredibly frustrated with him, and there's talk now. Some people want to try to push an endorsement for him. Well, we know it failed 22-0 at the just pre-primary, and it would definitely fail the CD2 full committee as well. And so there's a push of some people. Well, we should try to have a vote so we can. I don't know, but people. I think that it might be that the RNC can't support him unless he's endorsed, something like that.
Something like that.
So anyway, but he won't get the full committee, like that's for sure. He won't get that vote. And so then there's a concern. Well, what if what if the state party were to call a convention? It's like, well, geez, if that happened, there would be extreme revolt. Now, Tarab already ran in the primary against his word, and so CD2 spent almost all their money, probably like 20 grand or something like this, like almost all the money they had trying to protect the endorsement and support Rahm in this primary. So now they don't have money left to like support the House candidates. The House candidates have gotten the shaft the whole time around because the grassroots candidate that had a lot of support in the district that everyone who was working for, got the shaft also, and is out of the, couldn't get any money and was tricked to dropping out of the race or whatever the case, whatever you want to call it. So, so now there's no money to support these House candidates. We're trying to support House candidates. The BPOUs and the local Republicans are trying to support their House candidates in CD2, and now they want to try to, I guess, take everybody away for a few days, or supposedly some people might want to. The rumor is like try to call a convention, endorsing convention that would take people away to be arrangements committee, rules committee, and do all the planning, all the time it takes to do that. It's the same people that run the House campaigns, basically the same people that are trying to do the activism to get these House candidates elected.
Here's the question. I mean, is there not a realistic argument to be made that Angie Craig's so bad that you need to let this guy get endorsed so that there's unity on the Republican side?
I would love to have that debate with anybody. I'll do it on Truth Hurts Live. I'll do it anywhere.
Debate. I mean,
but yeah,
obviously she's bad.
Well, so are you trying to take that position or not? I mean, so
well, I'm torn on it. I'd say the opposite side on this is you don't want to reward bad behavior.
Well, that's one thing. I mean, there's so many things that we've done in CD2 to build a movement of grassroots conservatives,
Yeah.
And you had people like old Booze and Bob Lunan, running against Mortensen all the time and time again. He'd lose all the time. The grassroots people, the conservative people, have turned out. We have the CD2's been a grassroots conservative anti-establishment type district for many years. Now, first of all, Tayreb was calling one of the CD2 activists here a couple days ago, post-primary now, trying to get support. And she told him, like, basically, I can't trust you. You've been dishonest, like, these dozen times, and you never made any apologies for it, so I can't vote for you. And he's like, well, if you don't support me and you have a lot of following, if I lose by 100 votes and it's 218 to 217 and Angie's the deciding vote in Congress, then it's on you. And she said, okay, you go ahead. I give you full permission to put the entire blame on me. Go ahead and publish it. And, and we can put it out there.
Why not make the argument? Well, I've been led to believe by a lot of Republican politicians that there's good work being done by the Minnesota Peace and Police Officers Association, and they keep endorsing Angie Craig, saying she's doing a great job in Congress. I'm just following what the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association is saying.
Well, somebody like literally doesn't earn our vote. In other words, like snubs us, treats us with contempt. Just lies to us. Doesn't.
That's the thing. Because then you reward the bad behavior.
Yeah, and now we're supposed to support him. Well, if we don't support him, it's not our fault that we don't support him. It's his fault because he never earned our support.
Right. Well, no, it's fair. It's a fair point.
But as far as I made this argument in 2012, and I made it very strongly in 2012 when everybody was, Obama is so bad, we need to vote for Mitt Romney. And I said, God help us, if we ever got Mitt Romney elected, then he would be on the ballot in 2016 too. And then we'd have President Hillary, guaranteed. 8 years of Hillary, and by 2024 we'll be waist deep in globalism.
And I think that's a fair argument, Tushi, but I also think that there's a difference between voting for a president or voting for a governor versus a congresswoman, because let's just be honest, Republicans don't have to win CD2, right? They could still win all the other seats that they hold and keep a majority. So really, how damaging is Angie Craig if she's voting in the minority? So it's like, I think the argument is, why reward bad behavior? To have another rhino up there, a Tom Emmer loyalist.
Yeah. So the reward is very, very slim. In other words, like the only time it comes into play is if it's 2018 or 218 to 217, and that's the deciding vote. It's like that's not likely to happen. That's the only time it really comes into play. And then the downside of it is, you get this rhino in there and you reward the bad behavior, and people say, okay, all we have to do is lie, cheat, break our word, go against the grassroots, spend a bunch of money, screw over the grassroots people, and then we can get in there. And we've seen what's happened in other races, right? They put in people, they get big salaries as the different staffers of the Congressional District, both the legislative staffers and the campaign staffers, and everybody's got a big financial advantage then to turn out their people to the caucus. So now we get all the establishment people coming to the caucus. We can never have a conservative in the House. We can never have a conservative in the state Senate. We can't get conservatives to school board or anything, because all they want is the rhino people that they want them to get elected without regard to any of their principles whatsoever. We lose any ability to hold the party accountable. David Hand, have people in CD2 executive committee, anything, we lose entirely control of the entire party apparatus from, even the state central delegates out of CD2, everything, so we can have potentially one more rhino in there. If he got elected, it would destroy everything that I've built in CD2. I've been part of building since Ron Paul 07.
Yeah.
So no way is that a good thing. If he gets in there, it just destroys our entire grassroots movement in CD2 and replaces it with the
boy, Taylor
party
Rahm
machine.
really screwed the grassroots, really when all said and done by doing this. Putting them in the position like that. What do you got? What are you looking at? What comment? Read it. Read it, comment reader.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, zebras belong in California. Bleeding aluminum. Oh, look, it's behind
Dale
walls.
Cannon says Jake is wrong. We need a larger majority. I don't agree with that at all. No, I think a small minority is better, or a majority is better. Like, if you assume, look what can happen with a smaller minority. The handful, 8 good, principled conservatives can hold up bad bills, right? The supermajority by Tom Emmer and these nut jobs, that's not good, Then they don't even have to listen to the conservative faction. Of course, the interesting thing is they just bypass the conservatives and they work for the Democrats.
Yep,
and then they come back and they say, oh, those guys are, screwing us in elections. They're going to toss it to the Democrats. It's like, we don't play these stupid games of team games with you guys. We care about the principles, and you guys are the ones destroying it, that you'll actually go across aisle, get votes with the Democrats, and that's how you're funding these forever wars with Joe Biden.
So the Republicans have the majority. That means they get 8 people on the Rules Committee to the Democrats 4. As long as those 8 people in the Rules Committee vote to push the stuff to the floor, then they get the uniparty votes to fund Ukraine, to fund everything. That's what we have right now in the majority. So how does a larger majority stop that? It doesn't. If people like Fishbach on the Rules Committee will vote to push these things to the floor with no amendments allowed, that's how we had a Republican, majority in 2017, right? Trump was president, and Republican House, Republican Senate. We got the second largest spending bill in the history of the country, fix Nix, and who pushed it through to the floor with no amendments allowed? Lewis on the Rules Committee, right? And then Thomas Massey was like, no, we want amendments so we can get the gun control out of there. Nope, Republicans push it to the floor because they have Democrat votes to pass it, and that's the game right now.
Yep.
So it doesn't do any good. It doesn't matter how much majority you have. They put it through, and half the Republicans vote against it anyway, and all the Democrats vote for it.
Yeah. All right, joining us from Wisconsin, La Crosse, Wisconsin, my good friend who I used to do radio with back in college. Boy, that was fun. We used to,
we had a
the
blast.
professors, we lived rent-free in their heads. It was so great. Andy Parrish is getting back into radio. How you doing, Andy Parrish?
Hey, what's happening, Jake? No, Tushy, I'm just going to follow
Andy,
up
you
with
got to
what
turn off your mute button. This guy
My mute button's
wants
not
to
on.
get
that meme from
This guy
last
wants to get in
Thanksgiving.
radio. He doesn't. He's got his mute
It's
button
not
on.
my mute
It's
button.
unbelievable.
It's not my mute button at all.
No, we can't hear. We can't hear a thing you're saying, Andy.
Can't hear you.
Dawson, turn
Can't
me
hear.
on.
Or is it on me?
Are you guys?
Yeah, it's on you, Jake.
Are you guys
Come
going
on.
insane? What?
My stuff's
I
going
can't
on.
hear
Can you
you.
hear me
Hold
now?
on 1 second.
Tushy, you can hear him, right?
Can I hear him? Andy, are you there?
Yeah, I can you hear me now?
No, I
Can't hear anything.
I can't hear you.
So, Tushy, I just want to follow up on what you were saying, though. I mean, you didn't say it as eloquently as Thomas Jefferson did, but let's not forget Thomas Jefferson
Wait,
said.
hold on, Andy. What's going on? I feel
How are
like
ya?
is it on him or is it on me?
What have you been doing over there with your cable?
I haven't done.
Dawson
can't
can hear
hear
me.
either.
Tushy, can you hear me?
Yeah, it seems like it's going in and out. Okay, maybe. Oh,
All
they
right.
say they can hear
So,
him. Oh, it's on me.
What
It's
I
on
was
me.
Tushy, what I was going to say.
Can't believe it.
And by the way, Tushy, I mean, man, I've always admired you because you're the guy out there knocking the doors. You're making the phone calls. I mean, you and Jake and you guys have put more blood on the arena floor than people I know, and so I admire that. But what I was going to say was what you said, not so eloquently as Thomas Jefferson said. It was governments are instituted amongst men, deriving their just powers from the consent of who? The people. And too often we get told you got to choose either A or B, or you got to choose the lesser of two evils. You're still voting for evil. And that's not how our government was set up. Our government was set up to give consent. It's like I tell people, I got 2 beautiful daughters, and I wish that there were only 2 guys after each of them. But I tell them all the time, if they came home and they said, Dad, I want you to pick a guy. I'm going to marry one of these 2 guys. This guy is an unemployed alcoholic or an unemployed drug addict, and this guy over here is a abusive alcoholic. Which one should I marry? I'm going to say none. I mean, who am I going to get? I'm not going to give my consent to either of them, right? So I'm with you on that. But if you don't want to vote for somebody, don't vote for somebody. You don't need to. It is your consent.
Well, and I also think too many people just pay attention to elections and they think politics ends there, and they go, "Oh, well, every 2 years there's an election, and that's politics." It's like, you got to remember that that's just to put people in power. Really, you should be active in politics when they're doing stuff in power, right?
Yeah, amen.
And so,
Amen.
yeah,
I mean, you have to hold them accountable, and they get away with it. I mean, I got a stalwart conservative, Tom Tiffany, over here in Wisconsin, and the guy just screwed up really bad. And, I'm calling him out on that because, look, the Apostle Islands right now, it's run by the state of Wisconsin. And you got to remember, Tom Tiffany is a federal legislator. He is the federal government. And he just introduced legislation that would turn the Apostle Islands into a national park and run by the feds. And how he can get away with that, I don't know. And then he expressly prohibits hunting in the Apostle Islands, which is currently allowed now. And it's like these guys think we're not watching or something, but look, when government takes your property and other stuff, you don't consent to the lesser of the two evils. You just don't. You say, no, I'm not voting for either.
right.
But,
And I always think it's like, well, what money are you buying this thing? Aren't you guys like dead broke?
No, man, they just keep borrowing, borrow more. Jake, we're racking up $1 trillion every 100 days in a national debt. $1 trillion every 100 days.
Yeah.
That's insane. And like you said, or Tushi said, we had the majority in 2017 when Trump was president. Remember, we were going to repeal Obamacare. I mean, we had the House, we had the Senate, we had the presidency. We sent full repeal of Obamacare something like 60 times to Obama to veto. Why didn't we just send the same damn bill?
Yeah. No.
Why didn't we do it? Why did we try to get cute by half?
It was Republicans that blockaded that in Congress. That's the problem.
Jason Lewis, and
Yep.
I mean, Minnesota's Mr. Right. I'm going to go repeal everything, and yada 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 yada. No, he didn't. He just went along to get along. But anyway, we're supposed to talk about the upcoming election, right, Jake?
Hey, yeah. So you're across the border. You got a bozo governor of your own, but no one knows Tony Evers because no one even
when he was announcing our.
No one knows
delegates.
who he is. Honestly, he's very underwhelming, but he was just as bad as Governor Walz. The difference was you guys actually have a Republican legislature, and you had a Supreme Court that overturned his emergency orders during COVID. And so you guys were wide open.
The Supreme Court. Yeah,
What's
and then we
that?
lost
Yeah, I know.
We
It's
lost
crazy.
the Supreme Court, and now they're overturning everything and doing their activism. And why is it so much to ask for somebody just to read the damn Constitution? It shouldn't be that hard. Just read that, interpret that, and go on. Don't be an activist about
Your
it.
governor can't even read the name Harris, so I don't know.
I know. That's why I was doing the bumbling. And I was just excited is what he was saying. It's like, Tony, you were drinking. We all know it. Just say, I was at a party. I was having a great time.
And he's the only one with no cheese hat on, and he was the drunkest. That's
yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
So, all right.
But I was watching your governor.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think of our governor?
Well, the
Not my
first thing
governor.
is, last night, I didn't know. Honest to God, this guy to me, he looks like a cross between the Kool-Aid Man and Howard Dean. That's the only way I can describe this guy, right? He's like, busts through the wall, and he's like, and then gives out this incredible Dean scream that it's like, well, what are you doing? It's either that or he's like the guy, like a bunch of teenage girls watching the Beatles come to America for the first time. When he walks out on stage, he's like, oh, hi, he's doing his thing. And it's like, hey, you're running for vice president now, and yeah, it's a shock, but he's not going to win. I mean, that's the amazing thing. And I'm going to pull my map up here in a minute, Jake, but as I look through the Electoral College, as I look through different polls and stuff, like their path, Harris and Walz's path to victory is pretty slim to none.
It's not. No one wants to talk about this, but Trump only has to win Pennsylvania and Georgia, and it's over, right?
And no, he'd have to win Georgia. Yeah, he'd have to have Georgia too.
Yeah, Georgia and Pennsylvania, but he looks good in those states. I know
Right.
that. I know right now the poll. By the way, I mean, and we'll get into this too. RFK is supposedly dropping out tomorrow and endorsing Donald Trump.
Dawson, you got to turn sharing on for me, bud. Yeah, but
Turn over the controls of the show to Andy. Do you know how to do that on Zoom, by the way?
Jake, nobody's going to care about RFK's votes. And
No,
I
don't know. Well, but MAGA Jesse used to always argue, he's taking votes away from Trump. And I'm like, I don't think so, Jesse. I think there's a lot of Democrats that are off ramping because of Biden. But once Biden got out, I don't think that's the case. I do think it's true. I think it does take votes away from Trump.
But is it enough to sway a state to give the electoral colleges
clearly,
away?
like Trump is not leaving any stone unturned, right? Like
No.
Trump went in, Andy, I'll convince you in one statement.
All right.
Donald Trump and spoke to the libertarians out in Washington, D.C.
He did or did not?
He did.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, well, why does he do that, Andy? You're an expert, right?
Because he needs their votes.
He
right?
needs their vote, and you know how marginal of a vote that is. LP people, half of them were trying to protest him there. So he's leaving no stones unturned. So if he's going and talking to the LP out in Washington, D.C., he's going to try to do what he can with RFK votes. And if it earns him, well, listen, Minnesota. So let's talk about.
Falls into this, though,
hold
Jake,
on.
too.
Let's talk about Wisconsin, Andy. Wisconsin, Trump won by, what, 20,000 votes in 2016? He lost by, what's that?
24,000 and 24,000.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
And then he lost by 20,000 in 2020. I mean, we're talking about such small margins in Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes that, yeah, he does care about RFK. He cares about that a lot.
Well, yeah, is RFK going to take 20,000 votes? I don't know. My philosophy's always been this. Secure your base, turn your base out, and win over your leaners and win over your independents, and don't worry about the rest. I mean, only control what you can control. And, one of the things that I'm so impressed this time around, I mean, and Tim the Taxon Toolbag Walz over there, whatever you want to call him, Tim the Tampon, Tim the Taxer. I mean,
Tyrant.
The names for him could go on. But when you look at what he's doing, he's trying to do this herd mentality thing, and it's prevalent in marketing, it's prevalent in politics, where if you say it enough, you create this peer pressure type thing. And we saw it with wait till Taylor Swift endorses blah blah blah. Okay, they got Oprah. Who cares? Oprah shows up last night, all right? But they're trying to create this herd mentality to almost force people into voting for them because they know they're losing. And one tall tale sign is, have you ever seen Donald Trump this incredibly disciplined before in your life? I have not. I mean, the man has been incredibly disciplined. He's been on message. He hasn't made mistakes. He's not out tweeting things. He's not out pretending that he's,
not making mistakes,
mentally disabled or anything like that. He's exceptionally disciplined right now. And you're only disciplined if you're losing or if you're winning. If you're losing, you start to make mistakes, and that's what campaigns try to do.
Well,
we
hold on,
force
Dawson.
people into
Dawson
mistakes.
wants to push back on that. What do you think of Dawson?
I mean,
Dawson's our independent-minded one on the show.
I'm the avid Trump hater. I think that hasn't Trump didn't he just truth out the Kamala AI thing is real and all this stuff? And
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so look at how hard we had to think about what he did compared to Trump in the past. Look at how hard you had to. I mean, the AI plane thing on his Truth Social. Okay, candidates are going to do that. I had a candidate send out a mailer one time that showed traffic and it showed New York license plates, and we were in Minnesota. I mean, that kind of stuff is going to happen. And yeah, Trump made a mistake, but if you look at the earth-shattering mistakes that he's made in the past that has cost him votes, he's not doing that this time.
Not to be a MAGA Jesse for a second, but sometimes,
I miss MJ. I wish he was there.
Well, yeah, he's trying to zoom in from the state fair. So Jesse's always like, well, it's 17D chess, and it's like, well, I remember all of us going, why are you bringing up an affair of Fannie Willis? Is it Fannie? That's not how you pronounce it. Fannie? How do you pronounce?
Wait,
She's not in the
whose
news.
affair are you talking about?
Well,
Because
he was
Kamala's
talking about
husband
something
had
like
one,
infidelity
Kamala had a few.
Fannie Willis, and then literally months later, it became the major reason that trial was stagnated.
Well, no, wait. The reason the trial was stagnated, Jake, was because, when you fight for the Constitution's going to fight for you. And what they did to Trump in Georgia, what they did to him in Manhattan, what they're trying to do to him in Florida, it's going to get thrown out because they're not following the law. He hasn't done anything. And I keep telling people when they say, oh, Trump's a convicted felon, I'm saying, no, actually, he's not. That was thrown out. Trump is not a convicted felon. That's why Harris and the Democrats stopped saying it, because that's an easy libel to prove.
What do you mean it's been thrown out? What do you mean by that?
Well, the one case that they convicted him of a felony on was thrown out.
No, it wasn't. What are you
right
talking
before
about?
the convention.
No. In fact, they got a sentencing coming out on that.
No, that is for his civil trial in New York.
No, you don't sentence for a civil trial, Andy.
That is for his, or I'm sorry, that is for the Trump Tower business.
No.
the Trump business.
You're off on this one. But you know what? I'll give you some sympathy.
not.
I'll empathize with you for being off on this because how do you keep track of all these things?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're the most. Look, last night you saw Taxon Toolbag over there in Minnesota, Taxon Toolbag Tim.
I like
You
that.
saw his kid like cry up on television. Everyone's like, "Oh,
No, I
way
did.
to go."
I didn't see it. I don't watch it. People are like,
Way to
"Did
go,
you watch
Gus."
Walz last night?" I'm like, "No, I got things to do." Why would I
did.
watch Tim Walz?
All Walz was last night was the Kool-Aid man screaming like Howard Dean. That's all it was. He was up there jiggling and doing his screaming and all of that stuff and breaking through walls. And
I hope people get that
they showed to his
reference.
son Gus, and his Gus is like, "That's my dad," and he's crying. Okay, and the media's like, "Oh, Gus, oh, look at how sweet." And granted, look. Kids are off limits, in my opinion, unless you're Hunter Biden, unless you're making money. My point being, though, is that Donald and Eric Trump.
That's the funniest freeze frame on a Zoom. Did we lose? Oh, there we go. We got him back.
What? And we can't hear you.
No,
now.
I swear to God.
I'm a-
I swear to God. Oh, what happened?
I'm sharing my screen.
Oh,
I'm
you're
showing
sharing
you
your screen. Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. By the way, the lovely T-Wall says, unfortunately, Trump's become a little boring lately, and I kind of agree. It's like
he's disciplined.
I know he's disciplined, but I gotta miss it, you know.
All right. So
His
what I do,
son,
Jake,
Gus.
and you know this, is I count votes. And Tushy, you know I count votes too. And
Yep.
so I've got this, Jake. I'll send it over to you so you can put this on Truth Hurts. It's something that I made. But when we talk
Oh
about
no,
a
you're
very
making
narrow
websites now.
No, I made a map, an interactive map, so I can keep track of electoral votes. All right. So when we talk about the red wall and the blue wall, or when we talk about the core four, that's what Republicans call that now. We can't, or we have a very hard path to winning the presidency if we don't pick up Iowa, if we don't hold North Carolina, if we don't hold Ohio, and if we don't win Florida.
Which don't
Okay?
even, and none of those are swing states today. That's a crazy
No,
thing.
I mean Ohio's so deep red now because
Exactly.
if you look up in the Toledo and the Cleveland area,
Right.
You know, that's where my grandparents were from. My grandparents have now passed on. And that generation, that was a large concentration of factory workers and World War II people. And those people have passed on, which is part of the reason we saw them lose an electoral vote. Plus you had migration, but it's no longer a competitive state. So with the
I mean,
Dems,
it's not in this election cycle. I think we need to
Right.
specify that because, I mean, Florida went Obama, right? Florida legitimately in the last election cycle, 2020, was still considered a swing state. Ohio was too. They're off the
Not-
map.
not
No
anymore.
one's looking at those swing states.
No.
North Carolina,
I mean,
is not considered a swing state. It's
no.
crazy.
So if we hold the core four, and they have to hold the blue wall, and people think the blue wall is like California all the way down to New Mexico and down the East Coast. It's actually not. The blue wall for them, the ones they have to win, are Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
Right.
Okay, so for your viewers at home, gray means I have not awarded these votes to anybody. I know y'all say Minnesota is going to go red. Keep saying that, whatever.
It's not.
I'm gonna
It's
keep
not.
it
I don't
blue
believe
for
it.
now,
I never
right?
said
I'm
that.
going to keep that blue.
Yeah,
but
Tushi and I don't say it.
But
Although it's
when
good to
we
be
scroll
optimistic.
down- when we scroll down, if Trump holds just the core four, all right, he's at 269 electoral votes, and you need 270 to win.
Right.
Okay, if Camilla wins all of hers, but the core four are up, if she loses any one of these core four or of their blue wall, it's over.
Yeah. Now scroll up
But it
real
can
quick. Scroll up real quick here, Andy. So you got Georgia in this column already.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it can be over another way too, Jake.
Well, yeah,
because
so-
Maine and Nebraska give their 2 electoral votes to the statewide winner,
Right.
and then each congressional district awards an electoral vote
Well, the
based
one.
on the popular
Yeah, the
vote,
one.
whoever won.
Yeah.
Trump won Maine 2 last time. So Maine 2 is one of those kind of blue collar towns. It's a fishing area. It's up on the peninsula. So this is a blue collar shipping area. If Trump wins Maine 2 and they hold their blue wall, Trump wins. It's over.
Right.
And so
Now, you know what's interesting here in your chart, because I'm just kind of like, how does these numbers line it up? You actually put Nevada in the blue column, And I don't see that.
I just gave it blue. I gave it
blue.
blue.
Yeah. So you're being actually generous to their side because I don't see that happening. And then you do have Arizona in the red. And I think Nevada looks almost like it's going to be more red than Arizona at times. So, yeah. So
that's another path. Do you see what I'm saying? So Trump starts with a potential win. If he wins Maine 2, it's over. Yeah. And he holds the core 4. So you're going to see Trump in Maine a lot, I would imagine, and talking to libertarians up there, because if he just wins the one congressional district that he's already won, game over.
And it's the same thing with Wisconsin, which is going to give him 10 electoral votes because, quite frankly, Wisconsin's such tight margins if you look at the two past presidential elections.
Wisconsin goes red. Trump's at 279, 280 if he wins Nebraska or if he wins Maine 2. If he wins Pennsylvania, he's at 298. He is going to win Michigan just simply because of the concentration of Muslim Americans that they have in Dearborn and how mad they are over this whole Hamas-Israel thing.
Are they still mad, though? I mean, it sounds like they
well, it'll be Trump's job to remind them.
Yeah,
and,
it is his job
it'll
to
be
do
the
that.
campaign's job to remind them. But let's say Trump doesn't win Michigan, but I do believe he's going to win Wisconsin, and I do believe that he is going to win Pennsylvania. He's at 2, and if he wins Maine 2, he's at 299 electoral votes right then and there. If you look back again, let me take these off the map now, and we take Wisconsin off the map, and we take Pennsylvania off the map. Kamala's at 225. Right. Keep in mind, when Maine is called, if Maine 2 goes Trump, the election's over.
Right.
It is over. There's no path for her to win. So when I look at this, and you guys hear people saying, "Oh, the polls, Camilla," there was a headline on National Partisan Radio, NPR, the other day, that said something like, "Camilla wins in toss-up states or takes leads." Trump didn't even need those damn states. So why is this even a headline? These should be Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. These should all be hers, and they're not. And as I continue to look at this, Jake, I try to find the worst case scenario on how Trump can lose. And the only way he can lose really is if they force him into a mistake. And that's why I started earlier by saying, he's been unusually disciplined.
I don't know who.
What's so funny?
I don't know who Scuba McSalty is, but Scuba McSalty says Nostradamus here seems to think all these areas with massive proven voter fraud are somehow going to have a proper election. LOL.
That's up to the campaign too. Whoever said that, good point. That's up to the campaign, though. If the campaigns do their job, they just brought Corey Lewandowski back. A friend of mine, and Corey is a sharp guy. He worked for Americans for Prosperity. He was their national director for a long time. He's a no-nonsense guy, and he's going to do what he can to limit that. But you're right. What can beat us is fraud. And, this.
Well, also throwing Trump in jail, which I don't know how to read this. Like, does that help or hurt him? Because what is it? September 13th is the sentencing.
We don't got to worry about that because he's not a convicted felon.
No, honestly,
Jake, look it up. He's not right now. This is the Trump trial that you're talking about.
By the way, he's been convicted. How do you put it? It's like you don't get convicted until you're actually sentenced or something like that. But he's been found guilty of by a Manhattan jury, just so you know. But by a Manhattan jury, he's been found guilty of 34. What they called
the Trump. That's the Trump Tower, Trump business stuff. And look, that's going to get thrown out on appeal. I mean,
it's September. I think it's September 18th. I was off on the 13th. Let's see here. It's so interesting that this is like not huge news right now. Donald Trump to be sentenced to prison in September. This is from Newsweek, which is a lot of fake news. But
when was that?
This was a week ago. And I know that this is, delayed until September 18th, which is just so ridiculously close to an election. The sentence date was previously set for July 11th, but was delayed until September 18th as Merchant considers whether the Supreme Court's ruling granting Trump some presidential immunity for official acts committed in office affects the hush money case. That was why they got it delayed.
So the hush money case is a total joke too, and let me explain
we all know it's a joke.
Well, here's the way that the FEC works. I'm convinced.
Can you stop sharing your screen so we can see your face?
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know. The screen's a little bit better to look at.
Yeah, yeah, funny.
Well,
I'm actually convinced.
Trump says that they didn't have sex, and she said they did. I mean, who are you going to believe? The fake blonde with the big tits or Stormy Daniels? That's what you have to decide.
That's a valid point, but the sex doesn't matter. What matters is the hush money, and to me, the FEC, Jake, you've dealt with them. We've all dealt with them. They're a rulemaking committee that makes things up as they go without legislation because Congress delegated that power to them, which I think is wrong. I think that's completely wrong. But when you look at what Trump did, Trump essentially made an expenditure that would affect the outcome of an election. I don't dispute that. Okay? When you're a candidate, even if it's a personal transaction, if it affects the outcome of an election, you have to list it on your FEC report. He didn't list it. Here's what has happened 99.9999999% of the times when people have done this in the past. The FEC just levels a fine on them of 2 to 3 times the amount they paid, and they make them amend the report. That's it.
Right.
That's why I don't think this is going to hold up on appeal, because they're going to look for precedent and they're going to look for other things. And they're going to say, wait a minute, we have to treat everybody. Well, they don't, because they don't listen to the Constitution, but everyone needs to be treated equally under the law.
Except for Donald Trump, of course, right?
Right. Yeah. And so that's why when it goes to appeal, they're going to say, wait a minute, we have no precedent for sending anybody to jail for this type of thing. They just pay a fine and amend their report. So this is a dog and pony show.
Well, but
I don't know if it helps or hurts him.
Right?
All right, Dawson, pull up line 9. And what were you saying, Dawson?
I was saying, so he's a convicted felon, right?
Not yet, not until he's sentenced.
Yeah,
Sounds
I think
like he was sentenced, wasn't he?
No, the sentencing is scheduled for September 18th. Which is, I mean, honestly, it's not getting a lot of attention. Like, I was just doing a quick Google search, and there's not a lot about it, which just shows you how crazy this election cycle is. By the way, this is how crazy the election cycle is. Is anyone even asking about how the shooter pulled all this stuff off, and who he is, and what the toxicology report was on the shooter? Like, did we just forget that?
No, we don't care anymore.
Yeah,
Jake.
it's like,
we don't care,
did we forget that Donald Trump almost was assassinated?
We don't.
Like,
no,
we don't care about that.
You know what's funny? If you go on Twitter, every time there's like any type of shooting, people are like, "Oh, thoughts and prayers aren't enough. I'm doing more." And then Trump gets shot, and those same people are like, "Our thoughts and prayers are with Trump."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm going. But again, there's no consistency with the left. I mean, they understand that power comes through manipulation, and they're willing to do it. And
I've got a question about this one. What do you want? So, Jake, what do you want? What should happen because of the assassination attempt at this point?
I think it needs more attention. I mean, seriously, the American people have a right to know who this guy was, and it's just like we don't care anymore.
I'm pretty sure. Didn't we get the name, the person, like the person he was? He doesn't have any.
We don't know shit. We don't know jack shit about this guy.
Look, you can't shoot a president and not leave any motive behind. You can't shoot a president and not leave any motive behind. And
Plus,
Trump
toxicology report. What was this guy on? Right. That's the other thing I'm very curious. Like,
does it matter?
What's that?
I don't see how the toxicology matters at all. But like when it comes to,
I'm actually kind of curious. Is he drugged up, and why was he drugged up? Are there drugs that altered his state of mind, and how did he get on those drugs that altered his state of mind? And what was the motive? And
I think you're going to find out soon that he was radicalized somehow by, a foreign actor over in the Middle East. I think that's the reality of what you're going to find.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, Andy, I truly do believe JFK was killed by the CIA. And to me, I feel like with the just gaping holes in the security of that event in Pennsylvania, it makes me really think it could have been our own government that tried pulling this off.
Well,
and
I mean,
Jake, it was miraculous that he didn't get shot.
You drove President Bush's motorcade. I mean, you saw what the security is like. It's.
Yeah, I drove in a motorcade. I drove in a motorcade.
Yeah, I said you drove his motorcade. I mean, you know what it's like. I mean, it's pretty intense. But the thing that I tell people too is that we had, when we hosted President Bush in 2006 out on Lake Minnetonka, I worked directly with the Secret Service on this, and the Secret Service, they don't have any authority to like shoot, and their protocol is wait to be shot at until you shoot. And there's a reason for that, because you have law enforcement from all over the state there. And so and you also have sometimes National Guard, you have SWAT teams, and everybody's got a different uniform. They've got different fatigues. You know, this is one of those situations where the kid exploited, you know, poor security.
You think he exploited just a normal weakness in the security? Because to me,
I
it's
think
like
he saw the weakness and exploited it. Who goes to a Trump rally and sees a guy in what looks like fatigues carrying an AR-15?
This then makes it sound like this guy is a high-level operator that could determine the weakness in the security state.
I think there's something. I think that you're going to find that out, that he knew what the weaknesses were. Because
there's more reason why we want to know more about this guy. Like, how the hell did he do that?
Why
and
can't
that's why we're not hearing it.
Well, I don't see how he has to be a, you know, operator from another country or whatever to be able to see that nobody's on the roof. You can just go to the roof.
Well, so again, you're on the roof and the kid is laying there. And if you've been to one of these events, dude, there's snipers everywhere, man. I remember going up to Secret Service right on Lake Minnetonka. I said, oh my God, there's boats that are coming within 1,000 feet, because that was the barrier. They wanted to be on a lake because then they could see everything. And I remember Lars, that was a Secret Service agent's name. He goes, nope, they're with me. And I said, they're fishing. He said, they got long guns in there. They're with me. And, you know, you see snipers everywhere at these things. So to see a guy carrying around an AR-15 wearing what looks like military fatigues is not uncommon. And that worries a lot of people. I mean, that worried a lot of people then, and it did now. Now, how did he know that that weak loophole was there? You know, who told him that? That's what I want to know.
He probably looked and saw. I don't think it's that big of a conspiracy. Like,
no, I'm saying he took advantage of. He took advantage of a situation that he knew of somehow. But I mean, we had
looking at it,
which I think is actually really interesting to know that he knew that somehow.
But if you look at, like,
by the way, it seems like a lot of video evidence suggests this guy wasn't really that good of an operator. He was like walking around the vendors and all that stuff. He was seen and observed with a rangefinder. I still can't understand how someone that close to where the president's going to take the stage has a rangefinder out, and people go, "Oh, maybe he's looking for a golf shot." Like, what? What do you think that rangefinder is for?
What they're thinking is maybe he's just part of law enforcement, because who shows up at a rally
I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone thought that. I don't.
Well, obviously they did, because that's how he got through and got up on that building.
He didn't get through anything. He was outside the perimeter, which is another thing.
The perimeter was 130 yards or something, which is ours was 1,000 feet for the president when we had President Bush here.
You're saying that he got there because an Israeli helicopter swooped in and dropped him off at the thing and then flew away.
Well, it wouldn't be Israel. I mean, Israel wouldn't be the ones that do it. Israel's for us. It would have to be somebody else.
No, they're not. No, they're against us.
Well,
big time.
Israel wouldn't do that.
They're behind 9/11.
Yeah,
was that Jesse? Was that Jesse that
dancing Israelis, Jake?
Yeah, was that Jesse that? Or no, that was Mark. That was Mark. Mark's idea.
Jake. Yeah. At the convention in St. Paul and at the convention in that you just saw in Milwaukee, I mean, my stupid representative, Derek Van Orden, gets in trouble again, claiming a Code Pink lady assaulted him, and she didn't. There's video.
How much did he have to drink?
Yeah, I know. And I mean, that's the problem. The guy tweets more than he should after 10 o'clock at night and argues with people. It's just, anyway, it's bad. But my point being is that it was Fort Worth police that actually released the video of Derek filing this complaint. Fort Worth, Texas. And, you know, again, they don't have the same uniforms. They don't look the same. They do finally, after 9/11, have the same radio frequency finally. But my point being is that, Jake, come on, jump in. You were in the motorcade. How hard would it have been with your military background to have put on some military fatigues and blended right in?
Yeah, but that's not what happened at all. And by the way, I would imagine it's not that easy with the Secret Service. It is others to get through their security perimeter, but probably not the best of the best.
So the Secret Service, all they do, they don't enforce security. They rely on local enforcement to do that. They drop the game plan.
No, outside the perimeter, they are still ultimately in charge. Anyhow, let's not rehash this. I want to get to this RFK thing, and then we got to do the post show. Pull this up, line 9 there, Dawson. So this is ABC News. Obviously, not the only ones to report this, but RFK Jr. expect to drop out of the race by the end of the week. Plans to endorse Trump. Now, I've been looking at this, and I'm like, this story about the bear in Central Park, even the statement by his vice president candidate, I think that was on Tuesday, talking about how we definitely can't have Kamala. I'm like, everything I'm seeing from the RFK movement is to try to make it sound so they sound good to like potential Trump people, right? And
unless they want to work in the Trump administration.
Well, that's
or
what I'm
get a
saying.
job
It's like,
there.
so to me, it's like either they are going harder in the paint right now to try to take away from Trump, and tomorrow's press conference, which I think is in Arizona, and Trump speaking in Arizona apparently, is just a way for him to get some last-minute traction and then really help out the Democrats, which he was actually vying for their position.
He was doing both.
Or Trump is literally going to get endorsed by RFK Jr. He's planning to drop out of the presidential race by the end of the week. Sources familiar with the decision tell ABC News. Sources tell ABC News that Kennedy plans to endorse Donald Trump, but when asked directly by ABC News if he will be endorsing the former president, Kennedy said, quote, "I will not confirm or deny that. We are not talking about any of that," he said. Sources caution the decision not yet finalized and could still change. Negotiating tactic, art of the deal, right? With one source adding that Kennedy's hope is, in part, to finalize things quickly in order to try to blunt momentum from the Democrat National Convention. Obviously, they read between lines. You and I know that. That's exactly what they're doing here, is take away that momentum from the DNC convention. One possible scenario being discussed is for Kennedy to appear on stage with Trump at an event in Phoenix on Friday, though the sources caution that Kennedy's thinking could always change, and sources close to Trump say no plan for Friday is finalized. Kennedy's campaign manager, Amaryllis Fox, emailed senior staff on Wednesday morning, thanking them for their hard work, but indicated a decision on the way forward had not been made. A source familiar with the email told ABC News. What do you think is going on? And once again, let's go back to your map. How much does this impact those close races in those states?
If there's 20,000 libertarians or more, then it does. And it depends on how much campaigning RFK is willing to do, which I think is part of the negotiation. I mean, you saw something similar with Pete Buttigieg, right? I mean, Buttigieg was this mayor from South Bend, and he isn't even qualified to be transportation secretary, but he is. But before the endorsement happened, he certainly made his negotiations. And when a candidate drops out like this too, you're also concerned about your staff. And you're also concerned about, am I going to have to pay unemployment and other things? And so there is some negotiation of, hey, where can you use my staff? Where can you not use my staff? Who are we going to let go? There's more to it than just that, which is why it's taking a little bit longer.
So you're saying that Pete Buttigieg was trying to negotiate where he could use his staff and what he could do with his staff before he negotiated
No, I'm
that?
saying Buttigieg wanted to get a job in the administration. And transportation
Sorry, that was
secretary,
just a
that's
double
something that you
entendre.
can. Oh. Yeah, I was going to say transportation secretary. That's someone in the media. And you notice the media only asks Republicans, will you have people from the other party in your cabinet? They never ask Dems that, right? But transportation secretary is one of those positions that you just give to somebody in a different party because you do nothing. I mean, what do? Watch trains? I mean, that's it.
All right, Andy, we're going to go to our
you
post
ride
right
in
here.
a motorcade of black SUVs up until you're like a half mile from where you're going. Then you unload your bicycle, and then you bike in there and say, I'm green.
Tushy, I got a question for you while I got you here, man, because I don't get to see you that often. So Tim Walz made his thing, or Taxin' Timmy made his thing when he said he held this fundraiser, White Dudes for Harris. All right? Like, could you imagine if the Republican Party held a White Dudes Anything fundraiser, how racist we would be? Right? I mean, if we were like, it's a whites-only fundraiser, and you got to be a dude, which means you got to know if you're a boy or a girl. I mean, think of the idiocy behind this. This is the media that we're up against, is that white dudes. I mean, the dude is being blatantly racist. I mean, could that Leigh Fink, legislator of yours, could he have gone to this fundraiser?
Yeah, Leigh Fink should be the head of White Dudes. That's the good one. White Dudes for Kamala Harris or Kamala Walz. That should be Leigh Fink.
Wow. Scuba McSalty says Mayor Petey Buttcheeks needs to go back to the bathhouse with Barry. M. Bauer 44 have long thought the polls create an illusion of support instead of actually winning over votes. Now here's to speaking to the whether or not that's a racist thing here. Love Minnesota says Trump is already polling about 50% among black males after enduring a rigged, corrupt criminal justice system and then surviving a shooting. If he goes to prison, he's going to crush the black vote.
Whoever said that is actually very brilliant, because whatever listener said that, because you think if you want to be able to, you vote for people who you can identify with. And, I think we can all agree that black Americans haven't had the same judicial system that everybody else has. And so they understand that they can be treated poorly by the judicial system. And I think they see that happening with Trump too.
Well, Andy, I identify with Walz the most because I carried weapons in war.
Yeah, he didn't go to war. You actually did, and that would make me mad. I mean, you actually went to combat, you know, and you've driven. I mean, Jake, you've done all that, and this guy's out there saying he did and he didn't. And how do you forget that? How do you forget if you went to war or not? You know, I
No,
mean,
he didn't forget. He just lied about it. That's what happened. He didn't go to a combat zone. I did. I went to a combat zone. I guess technically Kosovo was one too.
Dawson, I gotta send you this photo that I post of Jake on his birthday every year. It's Jake right after, I think it was right after they took Saddam's palace. Jake is literally sitting in Saddam's throne, holding his what kind of weapon was that?
Do you have
Jake? I don't
a
wanna get it
picture
wrong.
on your computer of me?
Well, I got lots of pictures of my computer on you. Hell, I got them laminated around the house, framed. I mean, I got them everywhere. But
Remember that Thanksgiving photo? If I would have known that Andy was going to be on today, we could have shown that one from the bridge.
which one was that?
Oh, it was, I don't even remember what it was, but it was a picture of the two of you from Thanksgiving last year. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jake?
No, I have no idea what it is.
Okay. All right.
What
well,
is it?
Yeah.
Is this post show? Save it for the post
Maybe,
show.
all right.
It sounds like it's
but
too.
my
It
point-
sounds like
my
it's too
point
hot for
being-
TV. It's gonna be the post show. Which, by
my
the way, you
point
can hit
being-
join on Rumble. $8 a month. You're subscribed. You help this great program, and that's where we get into stuff that we can't do on the regular show. We also gonna go. We have an interesting video, and I really want to get your take on this, Andy. If you could stick around for the post show, I want to know if you guys think this is satire. This white dude for Kamala. This video, I think. By the way, I think he's got an open marriage, and she's dating another race, and he's cool with it. I think he's a little too cool with it. I don't know if this is. I really want to know your guys' expert opinion. That'll be in our post show. Before we go to the post show, I just want to get this out here, Andy Dawson on line 12. Pull up this video here. Andy, do you agree with Tom Emmer on this endorsement here?
No, I mean,
No.
anything.
This is Tom
No,
Emmer.
on
I'm
this.
here to support the conservative choice for the Minnesota
I can't
House
hear
of
it. That's a
Representatives
Zoom thing.
in this district.
Who's
It's
he
Paul
endorsing?
Tucci. He's running in office
Hell
for the
yeah.
last 10 years. Joe Atkins
Hell yeah.
voted in favor
I think
of
I
growing
endorsed
government.
No, I
Paul
endorsed
Tucci,
Matt
he
Erickson, I
believes
think,
that
when he
you
asked for
can't
my
grow
endorsement.
government any longer.
And then he committed a bunch of felonies or something, but yeah, look at Tom there. Tom Emmer is, I mean, this dude is like worse than Gumby. I mean, this guy, he looks like Gumby, he sounds like Gumby, and you can change him in any shape that you want, and he'll be happy to be that. And I mean, Tom is, I mean, oh my God, I could go off on Tom 100 different times, but I mean, Tom has no, I mean, if he was in the Wizard of Oz, he would need all the things. He'd need the Tin Man, he would need the lion, he would need all of it, because he's gotten none of it. And yeah, just bend him. He can be whatever you want.
Hey, before we go to the post show, my buddy T. Mage says one of Jake's best stories was how the U.S. had him spending all this taxpayer money using helicopters in Kosovo, bothering people cutting down wood to heat their house. That's a true story.
Yeah,
by
I
the way.
remember that. So if you guys want to know that story, stick around for the post show. 'Cause I remember, Jake, I remember you told me about that, and that was, you acted correctly, I believe, in those situations.
That's right. All right. Yeah,
And
we'll
one other
talk
thing, if
about
you
that
got
in the post show.
listeners, I need a logo because I'm doing something new, and see right here.
Can we talk about your new employment?
Not yet, not
Okay,
yet, because there's still one conflict over one part of the thing, but I need some help with a logo. So if anyone can help me, that'd be awesome.
And then when I love Minnesota, I heard Emmer endorse Paul Tucci. That was a video we just saw. And
It's about the only right endorsement he ever made.
where's
No.
the,
Whoa. Wrong, Andy.
Why, what else did he endorse?
roofing company that he endorsed?
Oh yeah, exterior remodeling, integrity design
Yeah,
and
that's right.
remodeling.
It's like I'm not endorsing anybody today.
No, he's straight up. No, look this up. Oh my God.
Yeah, I
My name's
remember
Tom
that.
Emmer, and if you need home, I'm running for Congress, and if you need home remodeling, call my
Okay,
buddies.
pull
at
this up.
Integrity
Tom
Remodeling.
Emmer. What is it? Exterior or something?
I think it's integrity.
Integrity Exteriors. Pull this up, Dawson.
You guys suck
Integrity
so
and Tom Emmer don't go together, so I would have gone with a different guy. But
Well, this was back when you and I knew Tom Emmer. Like he was a guy's guy, right? We're not shocked that he went out to D.C. and kind of sold his soul, right? I mean, he was
District Tom and DC Tom. There's two
That's right.
Toms.
YouTube.
You
He
guys,
shills. That's
What?
about right, isn't it?
I don't think I know anybody who's worse at an outro than this show.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, it's a hang. Interior.
hang
It's
is
integrity. Integrity Exteriors.
Hey Dawson, by the way, I got some Yeezy 350 Zebras coming. What size are you? I've got a couple pair of them.
I think I'm size 8.
Why can't you be a normal person? Just go to YouTube.
Dude, do you want to know how much stuff I'm juggling here? I have to mute Andy half the time. It's crazy.
Oh, well, that's true. We all have to.
Everyone's got to
here it
mute
is.
me. My
Here we
wife
go.
has to mute me.
Here we go. And Tommy got in a little trouble on this one. This is so funny.
So there's only one clear choice. Integrity, exteriors, and remodelers.
Hi, my name is Tom Emmer, and I'm running for Congress in Minnesota's 6th Congressional District. If you're looking
Like Rocky, when Rocky had to wear the meat thing on his back of his
residential or
robe.
commercial, I can tell you without qualification, you need to call the
It
folks
even
at
says
Integrity,
paid for by Emmer for
Exteriors,
Congress.
and remodelers. They're the best.
Oh my God. And you know what? These guys are probably good American conservatives. They have no idea like the violations by the FEC on that thing. But it's like, Tom, you don't use your position as a candidate to help out a corporation.
No, we have the Hatch Act for a reason, and that's part of it. So.
Oh my God. All right. Post show right now. Go to Rumble. Click on join. If you're already a member, you know where you're going to go. Locals. If you're not, please help out the show. $8. Or you can do a full year. You get a month off, $88 a month. We got a lot of, or $88 a year, not $88 a month. But hey, listen, if you really want to support the show, $88 a month. Anyhow, join us there. Thank you to our sponsors, Alpine Cabinetry in St. Cloud, Warren Wessel of Keller Williams Realty, and John Galt Mortgage Company. We will be back on Tuesday at 1 o'clock
Quinny's
live
Sports Bar
again.
and Grill.
What's that?
And Quinny's Sports Bar
And Quinny's
Grill.
Sports Pub and Grill
the-
for being our official chicken wing sponsor, which the chicken wings didn't make it a set today.
Well, I did
because-
send a video to Dawson, but I never made it on the show, I
Well,
guess.
Tucci was having lunch. Can I say who you're having lunch with? Or what
Yeah.
position? There? The next Supreme Court Justice in Minnesota. So there you go.
District Court Judge.
District Court. That's right.
District 10,
Court. Yeah,
C3.
brain fart there. All right, so if you are a member or you want to help us out, come join us in the post show. It's going to be a good one. We got a good stuff. I want to know if this is satire. We're going to get into that story in Kosovo, and I know we had another thing. You got some juicy stuff, so we'll see you in the post show. Take care.